8:30, and the time has come to welcome in the Wolfpack of NC State, as we have done throughout the course of today here in Uptown Charlotte for the annual Tipoff Rouser. Please identify yourselves and the agency that you are with. Also, please identify which of our personalities up here that you would like to have answer the question. And with that, we've got microphones roaming, so who wants the first one today for NC State? We'll go with JB to the right side, about 6th row back, please.
How you doing, fellas? JB Ricks here from Spectrum News 1. Coach, I'll go ahead and start it off with you. You know you're coming off of a rough season, and this is the first time you've had to kind of come off of a losing season. So can you just speak on the challenges of the adversity that you will face, especially with an entirely new team and just bouncing back from the year that you guys had last year?
Yeah, you know, one of the things that we did after last year is, as a coach, I always go back and whether we had a great year or we had a disappointing year, I go back and evaluate some things that I can get better at and as a team that we can get better. And we did that, and we went out and we addressed a lot of our needs. You know, we struggled because we had young post guys. We went out and got 2 centers that were post guys who were really good players, and then added a couple guards and Jarkel and Jack Clark to our mix, and then we also have a brand new staff. And so I just wanted different energy. I wanted some older guys to be able to play with guys like Terquavion and Breon Pass and Ernest Ross, and I like the direction that our program is going in. I feel good about it. We want to get back to playing the way we played my first 3 years. We won 20 games. We were 500 or better in the ACC, and I like our team. We got depth. We can get back to pressing. We can get back to running, and that was the biggest changes that we made.
To our right still, gentleman with the camera, white shirt.
Hey Kevin, Pat Walter, WRL Sports. Questions for you and the players too, if they could answer. Last year there seemed to be some issues with fit and maybe chemistry, whether it's personality or just positionally. Can you talk about how you're working on improving in that area, and if the players could talk about how they're trying to improve their chemistry as well?
Yeah, I don't think we had chemistry problem. I think we had depth problem. You know, when we started our season, Manny Bates went down within 1 minute, and then we ended up losing to Ernest Ross for the year, and then Greg Gant. And then, unfair to these guys, Cam Hayes was a sophomore, Terquavion Smith was a freshman, Breon was a freshman, and Darion Sebron was a sophomore. So we had so much youth at the positions that we needed. I think our chemistry was really good. Our team got along. We just didn't have depth, and so we played a lot different than we normally would play. What we have addressed this year is we were fortunate enough to take a foreign trip, and we went to Bahamas. We were able to get 10 practices in because of that. That's certainly going to help with our chemistry. The other thing, we played 2 really good teams, and we had some adversity throughout some of those games, and so we were able to come together. But our guys are tremendous. We've got older guys like Jarkel Joyner, who is going to be really good in our locker room, and I think that's going to make a big difference for our guys this year.
Student athletes response, Jarkel.
Just build on what Coach saying. We got great chemistry, great energy in practice. We're very competitive, hardworking, and we're looking to have a better year.
Terquavion.
I feel like keeping our energy up, staying together, and we got this thing in our facility that say play for the front of the jersey and not the back. So I feel like if we buy into that, we'll be fine.
Coach, from the podium, just following up on the Manny Bates from last year. We left out of here last year with Manny joining us, and then a minute into that first game, he obviously sustains what he sustains. What did you learn about yourself during those first couple of days, first couple of weeks?
You're talking about of the season?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a challenge. I don't know if you guys have ever, when you lose, one of your kids or one of your players, man, it's one of the toughest things, for the season. And not that you think about at that point, you think about your basketball program because, you think about that young man and you think about the family and how much time that you spend and he spent trying to get better. I think that was our main concern. But as a coach, you have to, figure out how to make some adjustments, and we did. We had 2 really young post guys, and E.B. Dewana and Jalen Gibson, that we thought would play as a sophomore. And obviously they were, they had to play a lot earlier than we thought. And as you know, when you play in a power league like the ACC, you can't play a lot of guys who don't have experience. And so we really struggled in that area. But it was a very humbling experience for me because this is the first time in my life that I had to go through a situation. Even when the year before Devin Daniels went down with an ACL, but we were able to overcome it. We finished that year with 5 road games to give us a 9-8 record in the ACC. But I learned a lot as a coach from that situation.
Thank you. We'll go all the way towards the back, right-hand side.
Trayvon Miles, ABC 11 in Raleigh. This question is for Coach. Given the way last year ended in the season that you had, is having a completely new roster or having a lot of different faces, does that kind of serve as a fresh start for you?
Well, it's not so much, I never blame anything on the players. So those guys last year, they played their hearts off for me and our program. If you want to look at someone to blame about last year, you completely look at me. I'm the coach. I'm the guy who should take all of the heat, and I am. What we did this year is we went out and we got experience. I've said for so long and that, it's hard to win in college basketball in general when you're young. And man, I caught myself being young last year. And so I went out and I got some older guys that have played and been through some adversity. I know Jarkel's with us. Here's a guy who's proven, he started off in Division I, transferred back home to the SEC, has played, against some great teams. And certainly he's going to be great for T. He's going to be great for the rest of our players. And all of the transfers, including a guy like Casey Morcell, who was in the program last year, our guys will really benefit from. And so when you look at college basketball last year, the teams who were really good were the teams, and I'm not going to say the word old, those guys who were experienced, and that's what happened.
To our left, towards the very back. Raise your hand, please. Thank you.
Kevin Young from the three-point conversion. My question is for Terquavion. What was the process like after declaring for the draft and deciding to run it back with the Wolfpack?
It was a good process. I enjoyed that process a lot. And I feel good to be back with my team, with my family. Great environment in Raleigh, North Carolina, and at the school, so it was a great vibes.
Let's go to the right, 4th person, the aisle.
Yes, Coach Keatts, can we say ACC basketball is back to normal?
Yeah, and I'm glad you asked me that question. I don't think ACC basketball, I think ACC basketball has been great the whole time. When you look at last year, I think people from the outside completely judged ACC basketball from November and December. And I just don't think it was fair. And when you look at when our teams, the few teams that we got into the tournament, we performed very well. It's the best conference in college basketball. We have the best coaches. We got the best facilities. Those guys do a great job. It's ran very well. We just got, we have to do a better job as a conference we got to root for each other in November and December, because if the committee's going to look at those things over, December, January, and February, then we got to figure out how to get more teams in. And I think the way we do it is we got to change the narrative and we got to win early, because what's happening is when we get into our league, everybody's kind of made their decisions about how good the league should be. And you think about the 2 Final Four teams, that says a lot.
Jarkel, from the podium here, the note I have says that you have already assumed the role of vocal leader. So 2 questions. 1, how long did it take for you to become the vocal leader? And 2, what is your style in being a vocal leader?
When I first got in,
first of all, he talks all the time, so that's how he became vocal leader. We have no choice at that. But go ahead. I'm sorry, Jarkel.
no, I was going to say that, man. I love to talk. I love to communicate, man. This team is amazing to be around, and I'm very vocal. I like talking. Like I said to my teammates, being communicative, and just learning my teammates. It was from day one was the goal.
Coach, do you ever find a time in which you asked Jarkel to not talk so much?
Oh, all the time. No, he's been great. And I'll say this about T too, going through that process and, going through the NBA Combine and having the opportunity to go meet at some great, programs in the NBA, man, he's a different guy. And he's matured, and a lot of that is because he became a sophomore, but a lot of it is what he went through as a freshman. And these two guys, they will have to be our leaders, and they got to lead both on and off the court. I think what's important for us to be successful.
Thank you. We're going to hustle the microphone to our right, here at about the third row.
Alex Sawyer with Pack Pride. Terquavion, coach talked about the lack of depth last year, especially in the front court. This year you've added 2 transfers in DJ and Dusan. Just what have you seen from those guys through practice and what they add to this roster?
Those guys are very competitive. They go hard every day. And I mean, with those two, you're gonna get your all from them every time, I feel like.
Next question from the floor. We're going to take it back to the right, our friend with the camera.
Coach, I guess how much pressure do you feel like you're under to win now? I mean, you brought in the experienced guys, which would signal you obviously want to win, no doubt about that, but how much pressure do you feel to get those kind of results?
I feel the same pressure that I did when I was the head coach at UNC Wilmington and when I was the head coach here when I took the job. And, the only pressure that typically comes from a coach is what he puts on himself. And, I feel very confident in the program that we've built over several years here at NC State. And we just want to get back to, if you look at our first 3 years, we won 20-some games. We were 11-7, 10-10. And even the year when Devin Daniels went down, we found a way to finish up 9-8 in our conference, winning 5 road games at the end. And so we want to look at last year as, hey, it happened, it's behind us, we've addressed some of our issues, and we're completely ready to move on. And, we don't talk about it anymore. As a matter of fact, there's only really 3 guys on our team that played last year. That was E.B. DeWanna, Casey Morcell, and Terquavion, and everybody else is gone. And so I think our new guys are hungry. They got a new opportunity. I love our staff. Our staff has brought something different and a lot of energy to our program. And so the pressure is, hey, let's figure out how to win and get back to winning like we used to.
Along those lines, Terquavion, you do have new faces on the bench from a coaching standpoint. What have you learned about the process of this transition, about you, about the program? What is it that gets you excited about 22-23?
Just to be around a lot of new people. We got a whole different staff and team, so I'm excited about that. The new coaches are great. Never had a doubt about them, so that's great. And just a new team, I'm happy that we got a team who is ready to compete.
Any other questions for NC State? Seeing none, Wolfpack, good luck this year.
Good, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Folks, Notre Dame is up next at 3 o'clock.